Hello, I'm Richard Ridge, and welcome to Broadway Beat, where we bring you the very best of what the New York theater scene has to offer. This week it's the return of a groundbreaking musical, a Beckett classic, and a new drama. We'll celebrate with the cast and creators of the Public Theater's glorious new production of the rock musical Hair, which has just opened to rave reviews at the Hirschfeld Theater. We'll also drop by the opening of Dan Gordon's new play called Irena's Vow, starring acclaimed actress Tova Feldshuh. It's come to Broadway's Walter Kerr Theater after a sold-out run off-Broadway. But let's start things off by meeting the stars of Roundabout Theater Company's new production of the Samuel Beckett classic, Waiting for Godot, which will open at Studio 54 on April 30th. We sat with Nathan Lane, Bill Irwin, John Goodman, and John Glover, along with the show's director, Anthony Page.
I think it's a very emotional play. I mean, most of the productions I've seen haven't had nearly enough passion in them. And I think the relationship between the two tramps is an extraordinary sort of interconnection, you know. It's very like a marriage. And I think it's, as Beckett said, the laughter and the tear are what matter. He didn't want to theorize about the play. And of course, it's in huge contrast to the Pot So Lucky relationship, which is a hideous relationship. I mean, I think in the way that any play about a relationship can draw you in. Okay, there are strange things about this, and there's certainly sort of either frightening implications or not, depending what your beliefs are. But I mean, there's something very, just very attractive, if you will, about or riveting about how these people relate to each other, how they support each other, how they undermine each other. You know, I mean, it's fascinating. It's beautifully written in that way.
It's like we're just kind of very relaxedly kind of plotting it out. There's a lot of laughter all during rehearsal. We're all exhausted but exhilarated at the same time. Nathan's going to be genius. So's Bill, and so's John Goodman. I mean, it's going to be great. It's really amazing. And I had no idea what a great play it is. You know, the play's renowned. You know, it changed the face of theater. But I sit and watch, because I'm standing there all through it, save for my 3 pages of nonsense dialogue, watching these guys work together. And the play just keeps getting better and better and richer as they work on it.
To the point now where I'm only doing this every 3 years or so, which ain't good. I accumulate a lot of rust, and at my advanced stage, it's getting harder to blow it off. So this is like boot camp for me. You know, and Roundabout Theater, it's just been the best. The incredible organization. They really treat their actors. They treat everybody great. It's first rate. You know, you're getting into like a Mercedes. It's the Mercedes-Benz of theater. They're just incredible.
Well, Estragon is, what they often say, Estragon and Vladimir are the two tramps on the country road waiting for Mr. Gatto. They often say that they're two sides of the same person, really. One is the more, I don't want to say intellectual, but I guess he is, and although I do think Estragon is more intelligent than he's sometimes given credit for, and the other is the more physical. He has trouble with his feet, and he's constantly sleep deprived, and he's a little more upset about the situation, and Bill's character is very much trying to figure it all out, and still hangs on to this hope that it will work out. And I'm a little more, I don't really care. I just want to go to sleep a lot of the time. And it's just this, it's you know, when you're young and you first read it, you know, I love the poetry of it and the humor and the strangeness of the situation. And now, as I'm a much older person, it just seems like life. It just seems these are the conversations I have every day. What do we do now? Let's go. It's not so absurdist anymore. It just seems like reality, and it's a very, and like any relationship, and which is really the crux of the play, is their relationship. It's very moving, and they they try to entertain each other, and they fight, and they they keep saying, my character keeps saying it would be better if we parted, but then they can't. They're so dependent on one another, and it's really all they have. I think anyone can relate to that, that particular relationship.
What I thought certain parts of the play were about have come to be about something else. And you can talk, in the abstract before you start work on a thing about, I'm absolutely dependent on this person, I need this person may irritate me, but I need this person. To make that a visceral reality, especially with Nathan Lane, is a huge undertaking, and it's a visceral process. So we're learning, without talking about it really, we're learning how to lean on each other. Physically give each other weight. I'm learning how not to laugh when he does certain things. We go up to a certain point, and then John Goodman and John Glover come in, which upends the reality. That's why the play is so brilliant. It's just when the audience thinks that I begin to get this, then two other characters enter, and it's a complete shift in sort of dream reality. The room is kind of like a gymnasium. It's really. We had some donors come in last night to sort of. I think they went, "Whew, it's kind of steamy in here." It's hard work. The play is a very physical play. For a play that has a reputation of being, philosophy, it's actually it's a wrestling match.
After a sold-out run off-Broadway, Dan Gordon's new play, Irena's Vow, starring acclaimed actress Tova Feldshuh, has come to Broadway's Walter Kerr Theater. The play is directed by Michael Parva. We caught up with Tova and company at their recent opening night. Irena's Vow is the true story about one of the most courageous and unsung heroines of World War II. During the German occupation of Poland, Irena Gut-Updike, played by Tova Feldshuh, a Polish Catholic, was forced to work as head housekeeper for a very prominent Nazi major. Over a 2-year period of service, Irena would risk her own life in order to save the lives of 12 Jewish refugees whom she secretly took under her care.
Good morning, my darling children. I'm so very happy to be here with you this morning, seeing so many beautiful young boys and girls. I look at you and it seems to me it cannot be so many years ago that I was your age, but it was. Many years ago, when I was very close to your ages, right now, that I had to make a very important choice. I had to choose between life and death.
It's the culmination of so many years of sharing your story, and then to have it here in Broadway, to have people sit and listen to the story, I couldn't ask for more. I'm overwhelmed.
And talk about Tova's performance playing your mother.
Tova is the most wonderful actress. She has taken every aspect of my mother's life. She's gone to Poland. She's researched the town, the villages, the war, everything about my mother, and she becomes her on stage. She picks up her accent, her mannerisms, her humor. It's, for me, like rolling back the years of time and watching my mother during that whole period of the Holocaust. I sit in the audience with everyone else, and I watch my mother's life. It's amazing.
And when you first saw the play, was during a reading?
Yes, the first time. May 9th, 2007, I believe. So it's been quite a whirlwind from there to have us be here at Broadway. Amazing.
So what was it like the first time you saw the reading and saw your mother's, whole life be put on stage, what that meant to you?
Well, the reading was very simple. It was in a small little college theater. No one had any costumes on. They were just, sitting in a circle basically reading the script. And it was the first time I met Tova, and I looked at her. She was very, very fit and very strong personality-wise, and, darker skin, darker hair. And I thought, I'm sure she's a good actress, but I just don't know. I liked what I heard. But it's a testament to her acting ability because she puts on the wig, the contacts, and she becomes my mother. So, I thought it was a great story the first time I heard it, but it's a real story now. That's the difference.
This has been a journey that's taken almost 17 years. And I had the great good fortune finally, after I tried to get it made in various different versions as a feature, I had the great good fortune to hook up with the boys from the Invictus Theater, Tom Ryan and John Stanisi, and we were doing off-Broadway production of my stage adaptation of Murder in the First. And as we one night rehearsing, I told them the story of Irene, and they said, well, this should be a play. I said, oddly enough, it is, because I had decided to stop waiting for the movie to happen. And I sent them the play, and they loved it, and by hook or by crook, they staged a stage reading, and then Stan Rafe, who was our first off-Broadway producer, reached his hand into his pocket and pulled out all the money to do the off-Broadway production. And then from there, we got to Broadway, and it's just been the most magical, extraordinary journey, and all of us keep saying, Irena's doing her magic, because each time this thing should have fallen apart, and there were so many times it should have fallen apart, miracles happened, and that was Irena.
Well, perhaps it's the fact that it is a true story about a real woman that existed, but the audiences have been so moved by this production and this play, and they willingly stay around to talk some more about this project, and we have been doing that, and we've been very lucky to have the daughter, and she's been here, and hopefully will stay for a little while, but she's been gracious enough to step on stage and answer questions, and the stories after this play are equally compelling, and she brings that to the stage as well.
Ida, is that what you think, that you have no choice? Do you want to have this baby?
Of course, but they are right. It would be too dangerous, wouldn't it?
We've all discussed this, Irena. This is all about a decision. And with all due respect to your religion...
No, you were right. This is not just a matter of religion. I saw a baby ripped out of its mother's arms, and it was murdered right in front of me. And you know what I did? I stood there, and I did nothing. I could do nothing. And I saw the mother of that baby. She was shot to death in front of me, and I could do nothing. And I made a vow to God then and there that if ever I had the chance to save a life, I would do it.
Well, in that scene, my wife becomes pregnant, and what happens is that the birth of the child would pose an incredible threat to our survival, being, directly underneath the floorboards of Nazis. So we have to make a life and death decision to terminate the life of the child. It's of course a very difficult decision, but it's something that we have to do in order to live. Tova's character, Irena, refuses to let us do this because of her faith and her commitment to life. And, we're sort of at odds, me and her. I'm the practical one, the realist who says this has to be done because otherwise we will probably die. And she's the one that says, I refuse to help you because I did not even get involved to help you in the first place to commit murder on any level.
Come, my girl, wake up. Get someone who can speak Polish.
I speak German, Herr Major. I learned in high school. My name, Irena Gut.
You must be of German descent with a name like Gut. And your features are definitely Germanic.
I don't know. I never knew my family on my father's side. I'm called simply Irene Gutuvna.
I admire your honesty. You'd be surprised how many people are trying to pass themselves off as Germans these days.
I play Major Edward Rugema, who was the major that Irene worked for. He was a very conflicted man. He was Wehrmacht. He was a career soldier, but he was not a Nazi. He was not a Gestapo. He did not believe in what they were doing, but at the same time didn't do anything to stop it. Had political aspirations, was an older man, was a lonely man, and fell deeply in love with Irene. And did not cross that line with her until the moment that he felt they were both going to die anyway. And he did it, and he was a man.
I tell you, I love this story. It's a true story. It's a miracle. It's gotten me reacquainted with the Catholic Church, which I first met when I played Juliet for Jack O'Brien and all the Shakespearean plays. So even though Henry VIII had broken with Rome, in fact, you still had a Catholic Church in England at that time that had just broken from Rome, but all the Catholic traditions. So it was just fun to change ethnic, religious backgrounds, change ethnic and national backgrounds, change my hair color, change my eye color, return to my weight from 9th grade. I weigh 112 pounds. I'm very proud of it. And go from a size 16 as Golda Meir to a size 6. And I just am, I'm very thrilled to have been chosen to portray this role. I feel very lucky.
Talk about the magical force of this woman, Irena, because she's been everywhere during the whole process of this show.
Do you know what happened tonight? A Catholic stood up in the Q&A and talked about Irena's relationship to God and how, with the daughter, Janine Opdyke-Smith, explicate about her mother's relationship to the church and how that helped her save the Jews. At that moment, there was a tremendous thunderclap that hit the theater. The entire audience looked toward the firmament. And I tell you, I've never been in the presence of such a strong spirit. This whole production has been surrounded by spirituality. Opening night was on our 100th performance. Our opening preview was on the day that Tarnople was liberated from the Nazis by the Russians. None of this was planned. None of it. We didn't say, oh, March the 10th. Nobody knew that stat. So this play has been, the angels have hovered around this play since the beginning. And I'm grateful to be a part of such a heroic woman who never looked at herself as a heroine.
And they did beat them, they did kick them, they did shove them, they did curse at them. And this one terrified mother turns to Rokita, who was there. He was the boss of the whole thing, and she goes, please, please, please be careful of my baby. And Rokita says, you're afraid the baby might get hurt? I can solve your problem. You don't have to be afraid anymore. Then he grabbed the baby from out of the mother's arms. He held the baby by the legs over his head, and he crushed the baby's brains out on the cobblestone. Then he shoot the mother.
The groundbreaking musical Hair, which first took Broadway by storm in 1968, is back. After a smash hit run at Central Park's Delacorte Theater last summer, the Love Tribal Rock musical has returned to Broadway for the first time in over 30 years, under the direction of Diane Paulus. It is just opened to rave reviews at the Hirschfeld Theater. We celebrated with the creators and the cast, led by Will Swenson and Gavin Creel, on their recent opening night.
Totally amazing. 40 years later, we're in another era, but it seems to have the same effect. More so. I would say more so.
And why do you think generation after generation, I mean, when you look at the audience in the house, there's young people, older people, why it touches so many people?
I really don't know. I can't tell you why. I think that people are more aware of that kind of music now than they were 60 years ago, 40 years ago. They respond to it just naturally.
Well, it's been part of a plan, let's say, and we wanted to bring it back. We knew eventually, we had a feeling that eventually it would come back, and we worked on the text, some of the lyrics, a couple new songs. We worked on expanding or making it as strong as possible, and I feel we worked with a director who understood that process and cooperated with us and went along helping us with that process, and it was a great result.
You know, people are coming to see the show now who were young people in the 60s, coming back, being touched and moved and looking back on their youth, and they're bringing their kids. And their kids are coming and saying, oh my God, my mother's been talking about this show for years, and I've been listening to the album, and now I understand why. It's this amazing cross-generational thing that's happening, which to me is the most thrilling thing about the show being alive now, reaching new people, new generations.
When the moon is in the 7th house and Jupiter aligns with Mars, then peace will guide the planet and love will steer the stars. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius, the age of Aquarius.
You know, it feels like a lot of pressure sometimes, but such a beautiful and powerful song, and just knowing that I have the audience right there, and you know, it's just the first thing that they're hearing. It's so empowering, and I feel so blessed to get to do that every night.
And what's been the best part of the experience for you with working on this show?
The people. The people are really wonderful. They are really about love, and they're really about peace and happiness. And I can't imagine finding another cast that's this beautiful, you know, so that's my favorite part.
You get to reinvent something that people, you know, they were created for this other group in 1967 and 1968, and now you're rediscovering again with the creators what that process was like with working with Galt McDermott and James Rado.
They have been so phenomenal and welcoming and giving to us, and they've been just the best leaders possible. They've given us so much information about what the time was like and where the writing comes from, so that we can really not modernize it, but connect to it from a modern perspective and bring the story back to life. It's been just really thrilling to work with them.
Especially people who care about strangers, who say they care about social injustice. Do you only care about the leading crowd? How about a needing friend? I need a friend.
It totally has, and it's so interesting because from the concert to off-Broadway to now, you know, it's like, are we going to go to Broadway? Are we going to Broadway? And this is the night. We did it, and we're so grateful to bring this message back again and again and again. So it's wonderful.
You sing one of the most beautiful songs written. Talk about the song that you sing.
I love my song that I sing, which was an actual ad from the Village Voice. So I love that I get to honor this girl, and I wish they would come forward, the girl and Frank Mills. But it's so wonderful. I love telling that story and singing that song. It's wonderful.
He is brimming with love and care for everyone in the tribe, everyone in the audience even. She takes care of everyone. She puts them first. Everything is for the betterment of the tribe, and I couldn't be happier to be able to live through her every night. It's a blessing. It's amazing.
You know, fresh and new. Our director was smart, and she set the show at a theater, as if the hippies had taken over the theater, instead of trying to say we're in the park, because that makes a separation between the audience and the actors. So we're all in the theater. We're all experiencing the same, you know, moment at the same time. There's lots of audience interaction. I think we ramped that up a little bit. So there's much more of the fourth wall being broken. The cast is in the audience a lot, messing with people and having fun and talking to them and dancing with them and whatnot. So it's working really well so far.
Just like the angel that fell, banished forever to hell, today have I been expelled from high school heaven. Elevator going down, going down, going down. Everybody going down, going down, going down.
I
play Wolf, and one of the things that I love is that he's a very simple character. There's not a lot to him. There's not a lot of, to use actor terms, not a lot of noise to him. So it's very nice to be able to just relax and let my shoulders come back down and breathe naturally and just be a natural person on stage. And that's very liberating as an actor, to be able to just go out on stage and tell the truth with the lines that I have and the songs that I have, and experience and enjoy everyone around me, and especially the audience. That I get to really have that moment at the top of the show amongst all the craziness of Aquarius and then Donna and then Hashish, to come out and say, like, we're all one. And this theater experience that you're about to have it's going to be unique, and we're all going to share this together.
Yeah, I think the thing that's neat about, the play debuted in 1967, and then it went to Broadway in 1968. And even now, I feel like it becomes fresh again for a whole new generation. Like, the Spring Awakening crowd, like these kids who are just excited about Broadway again because last year they had this new thing that kind of spoke to them. This speaks to their parents and their grandparents and then them also. And I feel like we're going to have a massive following of all different generations, and everyone can come together. That's what theater is supposed to be about, a coming together, a community. And this is like the best community ever. Hair is the best community.